Hey, what's going on, everybody? Derek Ben here, and I'm coming to you from my home office here in Tacoma, Washington. And I want to ask you a question, okay? This question here is definitely going to tell you something about yourself, okay? Now, some of you may have already identified this, and that's great. It's nothing like hearing it again. It may turn on another light bulb or whatever the case may be. I want to ask you this question. What is the first thing that comes to mind when you think of yourself failing? What's the first thing that comes to your mind? Okay, now I can almost guarantee you the first thing that comes to most of our minds when we think about ourselves failing in any area or in life as a whole, we then become fearful, right? We fear failing, right? And that's only because you have a negative perspective on failing. But we can then turn that around and allow failing to work for us, right? How do you do that? Well, it's very simple, right? You can learn the power of failing. This is what we have learned growing up. Right? You can learn the power of failing by simply looking at it this way. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. Right? Very simple. Let's not overcomplicate it. Learn from your mistakes. Right? Instead of being afraid to fail, because this is what happens. A lot of us don't do some things, or there are some things that many of us should have been done or have procrastinated on doing because of the fear of failing, because of, I don't want to mess things up, right? I don't want it to be a flop, right? But with that type of thinking, you then make no progress, right? And then you actually do fail. You actually do become a failure because you've done nothing about that, right? But if you have the mindset of, you know what, I'm going to do this, I'm going to make it happen, right? I'm not going to quit, and I'm not going to procrastinate. And if I fail, then I will fail forward. I'm going to learn from my mistakes. It's very simple. It's something I believe that's natural to us, right? None of you, when you were born, came out walking. None of you. And if you have, then we definitely need to be aware of the times that we're living in. Maybe we need to check you out or something, right? I don't know. But none of us were born able to completely walk, right? None of us were able to walk at all, right? But in time, you then learned how to crawl. Then, you were wobbling, but then you learned how to pull yourself up and give yourself some type of support to be able to stand. And while you did that, you may have fell a few times or a lot of times, right? And then after you learn how to keep your balance, right? You still may have been a little wobbly, but you learned to keep your balance. Then you begin to take steps, right? And as you would take that first step or those first couple of steps, you would take those steps, but then fall, right? But you continue to work on it. And through your falling or through your failing, you eventually learn how to keep your balance and learn how to walk without support, right? So we have to look at failing as a way of learning, right? None of us are perfect. Jesus is the only one that was perfect, okay? You're not going to do everything right the first time, but be willing to fail your way forward. You're only a failure when you don't do nothing about your failing, when you don't attempt to learn how not to become better. That's when you fail. That's when you're an absolute failure, right? But that's not what we want to focus on. We want to learn from our mistakes. You also can look at the U.S. and look at the Japanese when they bombed Pearl Harbor. I'm no expert on history, no war Pearl Harbor expert, but America was bombed by the Japanese, right? Or Pearl Harbor. Right, the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor. Now, the U.S. could have taken that as a total defeat, right? They could have taken that as a total defeat. It's over. We're doomed. There's nothing we can do to come back. But they took that loss, or we took that loss, and then came back stronger, and even stronger immediately in World War II, right? So in your getting out there, to make strides in your business, don't be afraid to make mistakes, because the longer you wait, that's the longer that you won't have any growth or any progress in your business. So get out there, right? Get out there, have posture, know that you're going to get better if you do mess up. But just get out there, make it happen, right? And if you fail, then learn along the way. But at least you're not holding back. At least you're not in fear, or at least you're not procrastinating. You're doing something, right? So just change the way you look at failing. Look at it from a positive perspective, and then begin to learn along the way. That's all that I have for you today. Hopefully this will help you out and has helped you out. And also, I want you to make sure that you do like and do share. Also, make sure that you subscribe to my mailing list, okay, and get my 4 basic ways to transforming your mindset. And you might say, what am I transforming my mindset from? Well, you're transforming your mindset from an average or a negative mindset to a positive. And it's 4 basic ways, things you can do every day without it interrupting your day. But it definitely will make a difference. I see the difference when I stick to it. And it's just necessary. A lot of things we've learned growing up, very basic, very fundamental, but we get older and we think we don't need it anymore, which is absolutely wrong. So make sure you subscribe to my mailing list. Once again, this is Derek. Thank you so much for dropping by. Until next time, you be good. You have a blessed day, and we'll talk.